Hi everyone, it's Lisa, crafting from my home. I hope you guys are doing okay. Just to let you know that the library, Paris Bourbon County Library, is open for browsing. So feel free to come in and look and see what you can, what kind of goodies you can take home with you. Today we're going to be making DIY felt Shamrock pins. You know, St. Patty's Day is next week, and we'd like to put a little bit of green in our life, especially to decorate our homes or even our bodies with these pins. So I'm going to give you a list of the materials that you're going to need, and then we'll go ahead and get started on our procedure. Depending on the type of bow that you're going to need, or excuse me, depending on the type of shamrock that you're going to be making, you'll probably need a little bit of different supplies. We know you're going to need felt, and there is a kit available for you for this one, and we will have felt available for you. It's probably a good idea to have some embroidery floss or string. I know they make a string that is colored that also would be acceptable for this. You're going to need a pattern. You've seen this pattern before. I've done several shamrock activities and you've used just this pattern. You're going to need felt. You'll get that in your kit. You'll need one of the little latches to convert this to a pin. I've got a few accessories here, such as ribbon. I've got some fiber fill. I'll explain that in a few minutes. But otherwise, I think that's for the most part. Besides a needle, you are going to need a needle that has an eye that's big enough for your floss to go through. So other than that, I think that's all the materials that you're going to need. And we're going to make first this one. Let me put everything else over to the side for right now. This one is made simply by using little pieces of felt. Those are stitched together. I actually used a ribbon as part of mine as well. And then to kind of add to that St. Patrick's Day feel, I put a gold button in the center of it. So let me show you how to make one that's actually doubled. By the way, I do have my glue gun because I'm going to need it in just a little bit as well. So let me show you how we're going to do this. What I've simply done is I've taken a piece of felt, a small one, and I cut it into, the top part is a heart and the sides are just flat. They're just even down the sides. I needed 4 of these, and I did contrasting felt for this one. On this one I did the same thing, only I did my felt pieces a little bit longer, as you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting out my green pieces. I need scissors. So you need scissors as well. You know, it's almost time for Easter, and I did not prepare well because I only have one Easter craft. And I will be showing that to you soon. I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting the top of these. I'm just rounding them off. It is 59 degrees this morning, so we are getting a little bit closer to spring. And I love spring crafts. I've got some cute ones to show you coming up soon. Let me finish cutting this. And this cannot be easier, even for the person who has very few sewing skills. This is going to work perfectly. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to put our light green on top of our dark green. I want to make sure I have a knot in the end of my embroidery floss. And this is easy. We're simply going to go in, out, in, and out till we get to the very end. I'm having trouble pulling that through. There we go. And you'll notice that when I pull it, it gathers them around the edge there. So we're going to do 4 of those. In, out. I'm struggling this morning, you all. There we go. We've got our 2 on there. I'm going to push that up against my cutting board and see if that can't help me push it through there. This is a lot easier to do with 1 layer. There we go. We've got 1 more to do. The reason this is difficult is because the eye of the needle is larger than normal, and that allows us to use a thicker thread through it. Okay, so we're going to pause for just a minute and let me get the other 2 on there. I hate for you to have to watch me struggle like this. We'll pause. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. And I've got all of them on there. I'm so sorry I had to go away from the screen, but I just was having a hard time getting those on there. So here's what we're simply going to do. We're going to pull that as tight as we can. And as you can see, we've already got the formation for our shamrock. I'm going to take the end and I'm going to sew those 2 ends together. I'm going to hold it tightly and sew those 2 ends together right there on the side. Just a couple of stitches. You have those mornings you struggle. Work that through there. The eye of the needle is having a hard time going through this felt because it's doubled. But you can do it. There we go. Now I'm going to move those. I probably need 1 more stitch. Now I'm going to do 1 more little one on the back just to anchor it. And we're going to clip. And there is our Shamrock. Now we need to add to it. And I've got buttons, I've got a little bit of everything. I've even got this little bow to go in the center there. But let's go with a button. And I could stitch it, we know. But I'm going to hot glue that on there because I've had such poor luck stitching this together. Pull those apart a little bit. And there we go. Now I do have other buttons. Let's put another one right in the center. Something a little smaller perhaps. Right here. Perfect. I'm just going to glue that right in the center. Remember, again, you can stitch this if you want to. And there you go. Now the difference between this one, obviously, which was easier to do, I might say, I had one thickness of the felt. And so that made it just a little bit easier. But you can see the difference there. All I would need to do on the back is with my glue gun. Again, you could stitch. But I'm simply going to put a little bead across there of glue. And I'm going to attach my pin latch. And there you go. That's going to be really, really cute. Now let's put this one to the side and let me show you the other one. I'm going to introduce a stitch to you called a blanket stitch. This one is actually going to be filled. It's going to be puffy like this one. And you'll notice I have put a button on the front and we've got our clasp or our pin latch on the back. Now this is known as a blanket stitch. And I'm not sure this is going to be close enough for you to see it, but basically it is a hemming stitch. And I have done that all the way around our pattern here. I've cut out 2 pieces using our template. And here's all I do. I make a stitch, equal distance. I pull it through almost all the way. And with my needle, I'm going to go and catch the first stitch before it loops. And I'm going to pull it, and there's your blanket stitch. We're going to do that again. I'm trying to make it equal distance. The good thing about a blanket stitch is it really does allow you to go around curved surfaces pretty easily. Also, it adds just a decorative look to the edge. And there we go. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'll do another couple for you. We try to keep our stitches as close as we can to being equal. I'm sure these are not going to be perfect, but it's pretty close. So I'm going to go ahead and make 1 or 2 more, and then I'm going to pause our video. And I'm going to finish it up all the way to the bottom so that I can put the fiber feel on the inside and make this little guy puffy. I kind of like to keep my finger close there. That way I know I'm not pulling it too tightly. And there you go. I'm going to pause our video. I'm going to get just to about right here, and then I'm going to get back on here and show you how to finish up this fiber filled shamrock. Okay everyone, I'm back, and you can see I've done my blanket stitch. I've left just enough of an opening to put my fiber fill in there. So let me start doing that. I'm going to need something to kind of help me poke that in there, and I'm going to use this. I hope I haven't closed it up too much. I want to leave a big enough opening. Let's use the other end. There we go. I may have to loosen that stitch a little bit. There we go. That gives me a little bit of a bigger opening. There we go. Now I don't need a lot of the fiber fill. I really just need to get my petals, or the 3 that I've got here. Might need to move that around a little bit. I'm using, this is actually a skewer. You could use a pencil. If you leave your opening big enough, you could even use your finger. Fiber fill is used for stuffed animals, little felt projects like we're doing here. Somewhere in there. There it is. I lost part of my stem. Okay, I'm going to put that last little bit in there. And that's to get the center part. Now you can see I've got each of my shamrocks, each part of my shamrock filled. And now all I'm going to do is to finish my blanket stitch all the way around to this corner. Let me go ahead and get a couple of stitches in, and then I will pause the video and we will see the finished product. Sewing videos are kind of hard to do because you're moving around quite a bit, and it's harder to see. It's harder for you guys to see, I should say. Okay, so I've made it to that corner. I'm going to pause and finish this slight corner here, and I'll get back on. Okay, everyone, I'm back on. I've got my finished felt shamrock with the blanket stitch. I either need to add a button or something. I could actually put that on the center. It's just a bow. Let's do another button. As you can tell, I have a lot of buttons to choose from. Let's put this one in the center. And I'll make sure you've got a green button or 2 in your kit. And that way, you too can add buttons. I have a lot of green buttons for Christmas. We've been doing some Christmas crafts. And let's pop another little one on the inside. Here's a little square one. Let's use that. And there we go. Now, all we really need to do on the back is we need to add our bar, our pin bar, and we are ready to go. Now, again, you do not have to make these into pins. If you've got decorations up and you would like to just add more decorations to a tree, to a mantle, to a garland, several of these would be pretty together and make a garland for your mantle. But I think these are adorable. They turned out really cute. These are our DIY Shamrock felt pins, or sculpture. We can call them sculpture, and you can use them however you choose. I hope you've enjoyed this craft. I hope you think about making it and picking up one of the kits that we have available in the library. Keep crafting!